Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi Shari Sadri wa Yassirli Amri wa Uqdatam min Lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Hope that you all are well, enjoying your learning. Okay, today we are here to solve one more paper, the most recent one, paper 1, Computer Systems 0478, paper 1 to May June 2025. The duration of the paper is 1 hour 45 minutes, and you have to answer on the question paper. No additional material is needed. Instructions, once again, you have to answer all the questions. You use a dark blue or black pen. You may use an HB pencil for any diagrams or graphs. Write your name, center number, and candidate number in the given boxes at the top of the page. Write your answer in the space provided. Do not use an erasable pen or correction fluid. Do not write on any barcodes. Calculators must not be used in the paper. The paper is of 75 marks. There is no mark awarded in case of using the brand name of software packages or hardware. The marks for each question or part question are given in the brackets. So instructions for you once again. Question number 1. A computer stores data temporarily in random access memory RAM. RAM is one example of primary storage. Give one other example of primary storage. RAM is given, so the other one is either ROM or cache. Now, part B. Give one reason why data is only stored temporarily in the RAM. So you can see it's volatile in nature, and the data is lost when computer is turned off or the power is turned off, and it needs to be regularly replaced by other data. As soon as any new data is entered, then the previous value is replaced, and the data needs to be constantly updated. So if a student has written any of these points, then he will be scoring mark. Very simple, it's volatile storage. So if you remember this term, volatile means the data is lost when computer is turned off, then you will be scoring 1 out of 1 very easily. Part C. The denary numbers 19 and 230 are converted to binary numbers to be stored in the RAM. Convert two denary numbers to binary numbers. 19 and 230 for working space, you can see for you this is done. And I think that is very simple for you all to comprehend, isn't it? So you can see it's basically 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, which you people have been using. So same thing is here that you can see here 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. For 19, which bits will be turned on? Simply 16 and 2 and 1. Very simple. So 16 plus 2, 18, 18 plus 1 is 19. In this manner, the answer for 19 will be starting from the LSB, least significant bit, 11001000. And if you have mentioned these zeros, that's perfectly okay. But if you have answered till this point, that's perfectly okay also. For 230, you have to turn on these bits 128, 64, 32, 4, and 2. So if you add them, you will get the answer of 213. I hope that you remember that. In case of any problem, then you can consult the videos that are available for the conversion. So I hope that you are going to score 2 marks very quickly after showing the working in the working space as it's shown here. Part D. The hexadecimal numbers 3, 5, and 8AD are converted to binary numbers to be stored in the RAM. Now, these are your hexadecimal values. So, what will you do? Now, be very cautious. For hexadecimal numbers to be converted to binary, what we do is we take the nibble and we like 1248, 1248. So, if the child has done this mistake that he had taken this not as 3, 5, but as 35, and he has made the binary for 35, assuming it's a denary number, then his answer will be incorrect. Be very cautious. It's 3, 5. So you will make the binary for 3 here, which is 1100. You will make the binary for 5, which is 1010. And in this manner, this will be your final answer. For 8AD, you will make the binary for 8, which is 1000. You'll make the binary for A, which is 10, 1010, and you will make the binary for D, which is 13, as 1101. So in this manner, your final answer for 3, 5 will be starting from the right hand side 1010 1100. The answer for 8AD Again, starting from the right hand side, 1011 for D, 0101 for A, and 0001 for 8. This is your final answer. Please be very cautious. It's 35 and not 35, which is assumed by some students, and then they answer wrong. Now, next part. The 8-bit binary numbers 011, 00101, and 0111 and 0000 are stored in RAM. The binary numbers are added together. Add the two binary numbers using binary addition. Give your answer in binary. You must show all your working. So these are the two values written. As you can see, 011, 00101, and similarly 0111 and 4 zeros. Starting from this side, 1 plus 0 is a 1, 0 plus 0 is a 0, 1 plus 0 is a 1, 0 plus 0 is a 0. So till this point, this nibble is very easily handled. Now moving to this one, 0 plus 1 is a 1, 1 plus 1, 0 with a carry of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 with a carry of 1, 1 plus 0 will be a 1 here. So this is your final answer. If you have completely written the values properly, you have done the proper carry, you have written the answer properly, then definitely 3 marks are yours. Part F. An overflow occurs when two other 8-bit binary numbers are added together. Explain why the overflow error occurs. It's a 2-mark question. So you know it very well. In this case, it's perfectly okay. The two 8-bit numbers added together, the result is also coming in 8 bits. But in case the value is greater than 255, or the result is too large that it cannot be fit in these binary value, then definitely it will be considered as a wrong answer. Or cannot be stored in 8 bits, cannot be stored in the number of bits available for the register. So this is a 2-mark question, means that you have to answer these 2 points and be very cautious. See, this is where you need to be very cautious. A 2-mark question or a 1-mark question, you have to see very cautiously, and then you will be answering, and inshallah, definitely the marks are going to be yours. 2 marks means 2 valid points. Now, part G. The negative denary number minus 22 is stored in RAM. Negative denary numbers can be represented as binary using 2's complement. Give the 2's complement 8-bit binary integer that would be stored for the denary number minus 22. You must show all your working. This is your working space. And see, this is what is done for you. So you'll remember. First thing is, as you remember, minus 22, you will be ignoring the negative sign and you will be finding out the binary for the number like 22. And for this, 16, 4, and 2. 16 plus 4, 20, and 20 plus 2 is 22. This is the binary for 22. I think it is very simple. You have understood, you remember, and this is the binary for 22. Fine. So we have done the binary for 22 in the first place. Then, as you remember, fine, ignoring the negative sign, and you will find the binary for the number itself. Then you will flip the bits. So all the zeros become 1 and all the ones become 0. So the answer for after flipping the bits will be 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. And then you will add 1 to it. So 1 plus 1, 0 with the carry of 1. That will be here, then 1, then 0, then 1, then 0, then 1, 1, 1. So your final answer will be this one. So you have to show all the working. And if you have shown all the working, then definitely you will be scoring the marks. So be cautious. Binary of the number, ignoring the sign, flipping the bits, adding 1, and finding out the answer in case the number is a negative integer. Please remember, in case now, very good question asked by Ali. I hope that you remember. In case the number is a positive number, then we assume it in the same manner, and we are going to get the binary of the same. Like, for example, if it was plus 22, so the answer will remain the same, just like the normal conversion. Okay. So I think we are okay with this. Now let's move to the next part. Question number 2. A student has an image file. A student has an image file stored on their computer. The image file was taken by a digital camera. Tick one box to show whether a digital camera is an example of an input, output, process, or storage device. You know it very well, isn't it? What will it be? Definitely, it's an input device. So this is how you will be scoring the marks. Okay. Now, question number 2B part. The size of the image file is 3072 bytes. Give the size of the image file in kilobytes. And you know very well, fine. 3072, 1 kilobyte means 1024. So definitely 3072 bytes means 3072 divided by 1024 gives you 3. So the image file in kilobytes will be simple. It will be 3. So simple. State the number of nibbles in a byte. So the working space is given. 4 bits makes 1 nibble. So 8 bits means 2 nibbles. So this is your final answer. You have written 2 and you will be scoring full marks here. Till now, the question is simple, exactly. So till now, you have seen that it's all the simple questions till now and you can score easily. Now, part C. The image file has a color depth of 32 bits. State what is meant by a color depth of 32 bits. So please be cautious here. They want you to be talking about the color depth of 32 bits. So you have to answer accordingly. So if you're talking about, do not forget to include the 32 bits value in your answer. So 32 bits are used to represent each color, or 32 bits are used to represent one color, or a student can say 2 to the power 32 means approximately 4.3 billion colors can be used or are available for the image. So just keep it very simple. You are not supposed to talk about color depth only. You have to answer with respect to 32 bits. So your answer will be 32 bits are used to represent each color in the image. That's perfectly okay. And in this manner, you will be scoring 1 mark. So this is what the students might make a mistake, so be clear. The color depth of the image is changed. This is the part 2 of C part. The color depth of the image file is changed to 64 bits. Explain what effect this change has on the image file. Definitely, if you're initially it was 32 bits and you have changed to 64 bits, so definitely the size of the file is going to increase. And it is only because the number of bits used to represent the color has increased. See, it's a 2-mark question. So definitely you have to answer in such a manner that you will be scoring 2 marks. Please be cautious. The size of the image file increases, and definitely then as because the number of bits used to represent the color has increased. Also, that is why the size of the file is also going to increase. Now, next part, part D. The student uses lossless compression to compress the image file. Explain how the image file is compressed using lossless compression. It's a 3-mark question. And you know what happens in lossless, there's no loss of data. We can get there's no permanent loss of data. We can get the file back. We can get the original file back. And definitely it is applied using RLE. So there are few things that we have learned. And you need to remember how is RLE being used here in this scenario. You have to answer accordingly to score 3 out of 3. So first point, any 3 from the following points. The size of the file is reduced without permanently removing any data. Important thing is the word permanently. Be cautious. This word permanently is important. That's why it is in bold. You can talk about a compression algorithm like RLE is being used. And in this RLE, what is done? Repeating pixels are grouped together and they are going to be stored with the number of times they are repeated. And you are going to talk about the indexing of those pixels also. In this manner, you can apply lossless compression on the data without any loss of data. So this is what they expect the students to write in the question to score the marks. I hope that's simple. Size of the file is reduced without losing the data with like the original file is reconstructed. Compression algorithm like RLE is being used, and what is done here, repeating pixels are grouped together and they are stored with the number of times they are repeated. So in this manner, you will definitely be scoring 3 out of 3 because you've answered by mentioning 3 valid points. Question number 3. A programmer writes a program to store and sort all the data for the books in her home library. The programmer uses a high-level language to write the program. One reason for writing the program using high-level language is that it is easier to read and write. Now, easier to read and write is already mentioned here. Give 2 other reasons why the programmer chose to use a high-level language. Now, since it is mentioned here, what you can say? Easy to debug, less likely to make errors as it is closer to English. The program is machine independent, or the program is portable, or you can say the program is not dependent, is not at all dependent on the machine. So in this manner, easy to debug, so simple, less likely to make errors as it is closer to English. And why? Because the program is machine independent or it is portable. So simple, 2 marks are yours. But be cautious since this is already mentioned, so you will not be mentioning the same points in your answer. Part B. The programmer uses an IDE, integrated development environment, to write the program. One function of the IDE is to provide a translator. Complete the statements about translators. Now this is your paragraph. Now you can see, complete the statements about translators. Use the terms from the list. Some of the terms will not be used. You should only use a term once. Like these are the terms: altogether, all, assembler, binary, error, executable file, executing, interrupt, line by line, partial code, sum, translating, whole code. Now these are the terms given, and the paragraph or the statements are: a compiler translates the blank at once before dash it. A compiler produces an error report that displays the blank is here errors. An interpreter translates and executes the code a blank. An interpreter stops execution when an a blank is found and continues once it is corrected. This is the combination of two main statements, and the words are given to you and you have to fill in the blanks with the most appropriate word. Are you willing to do it? Okay, very quickly do it and let's see what the answers will be. Are we trying? Are we successful? Okay, let's see. A compiler translates the whole code at once before executing it. A compiler produces an error report that displays all errors. An interpreter translates and executes the code line by line. An interpreter stops execution when an error is found and continues once it is corrected. So here they are expecting you to talk about whole code. As you can see, this is the one. Then talking about executing. Then talking about all. Then talking about line by line, like you remember the interpreter is a line by line translator. Then the talking about the term error. So this is how you will be scoring 5 out of 5 if you have identified the complete statements and you have written them in the correct position. So 5 marks are yours. Till easy till now? Okay. Now, another part of the same question, of the same sub part, give 2 other functions commonly found in an IDE. So they are asking about 2 functions, but for your convenience, I have written all. And see, function and role. So you were supposed to mention any two. So just for the purpose of like we have already been given the translator, so I'm not going to use translator. Apart from that, code editor, runtime environment, error diagnostics, auto completion, auto correction, pretty printing. So you know them, we have been learning them, and you need to identify these functions. You can, like a student can say code editor. So he needs to mention the role as it allows the programmer to write or change the program. That is what the code editor is doing. Similarly, runtime environment. So allows the user to run the code and see the output in the same place. Error diagnostics, features that can be used to find errors in the code. So these terminologies are somewhat that we have been doing in the class. So I hope that you remember them. But the role is self-explanatory. Like, see, so simple. You just need to mention it in your own words. That what do you understand of each role? Error diagnostics is very simple. Features that can be used to find the errors in the code. Auto completion, as the name implies, it is going to allow the programmer to start typing a command word, and the IDE will suggest the options for completing that command. That is auto completion. Auto correction, if a programmer misspells a word, then it is changed to the correct spelling. That is a very, can say, a very big advantage for us. So if I have misspelled a word, so definitely it is going to give me the option, and I can make the correction myself. So that is a very big advantage. Pretty printing, the command or the words, the word identifiers are given in different colors. So these color coding are very beneficial, through which I can identify that which one are the variables, which one are the keywords, etc. So these are the features. So if you have chosen any two, you can write them in like in any order. I've mentioned all for your convenience. But for example, if you have chosen code editor and you have chosen maybe auto completion, that's perfectly okay. Another student can choose maybe any other option, but be clear, any two chosen, written properly, and define their roles, then definitely 4 marks are going to be yours. Part C. The programmer wants to print a list of all her books on paper. Identify a suitable type of printer that she could use to print this list. A student can say inkjet printer, another student can say laser printer. That's perfectly okay. Definitely 3D printer is not the right option here. That's why. Fine, correct? Okay, now part 2. C2. The programmer needs to connect the printer to her computer. The printer is on the same desk as her computer. Give a suitable method of data transmission that could be used to connect the computer to the printer. Now be cautious. Connection established between the printer and the computer, and the printer is on the same desk. It means it is not very far from here. So which data transmission method will you choose? And then see, a student can choose any, but you should be able to explain your choice appropriately. Most important thing is you should be able to justify your answer. Fine. So if you remember, the methods are either serial or parallel, or then you can go for half duplex, full duplex, or simplex. So how will you gain the marks? You can see from here. It's basically a 6-mark question. So how will you score actually? This is a 6-mark question. You can score very easily if you have identified anyone. Like if a student has chosen serial, and he has chosen serial and maybe half duplex, so he will be getting 1 mark for choosing serial and another mark for half duplex, and he should be explaining his choices properly. And then now 4 marks are going to be there for the matching descriptions, 2 for serial and 2 for half duplex. So if you remember, now let's talk about serial. We remember serial means that it will be used when we want the bits to be sent in the right order, and we only are concerned about the maybe use of one wire, and we are not our major concern is we don't want the data to be skewed, or we don't want the data to have more errors. So that is why the serial transmission will be the appropriate choice for that student. Maybe he has chosen this as the option. Perfect. Or definitely you know that for serial, the speed is your requirement, like whatever you don't want the data to be sent very quickly. In that case, serial is a viable option. So in this manner, if he has mentioned these 2 points, that he has mentioned that this the data sent would be in the right order and the data will not be skewed, and the speed is not the like major concern. We don't want the data to be very sent very fast. He'll be scoring 2 points for mentioning the serial transmission accurately. And then if he has chosen full duplex or half duplex, for example, so you can see to allow the data to be sent in both directions, and any interrupts or notifications for errors can be sent back to the computer. See, either it's half duplex or full duplex. The choice depends upon like your, like you should be very clear about your choice. And you can say we want the data to be sent in both directions, and we want that it should be able to send the notifications back to the computer. So that is why my choice is half duplex. That's perfectly okay. Now, another student, what he did, he chose maybe full duplex, the same thing as we discussed. And oh, okay, then he chose maybe parallel. So if he has chosen parallel, for example, now let's talk about another child. What he did was he chose parallel, and then he chose maybe simplex. So he should be very clear that if he has chosen simplex and parallel, then he should be justifying his choice. Okay, then parallel would transmit the data faster. As you can see, parallel would transmit the data faster. My major concern is data transmission quickly, and multiple wires are being used, and basically the chance of skewing the data is going to be very minimal because the distance is not very high. So this is how he will be scoring the marks. If he has mentioned this, he will be scoring the marks. I want the data transmission to be faster. For parallel, the distance is very like small because it is on the same desk. So maybe the chances of data skewing are very less because the distance is low. If he has justified his choice accurately, then definitely 2 marks are going to be there. And then if he has chosen simplex, so he needs to justify the use of simplex. Why? Because he wants the data to be sent in one direction only. He does not want it to be two-way, and the printer may, because the printer is not going to send the data back. So that's perfectly okay. Be clear. If your choice is accurate, then definitely you will be scoring the marks accordingly. So be clear about your answers, and definitely the marks are yours. Okay, I think very clear to everyone. Choices may vary, and then in this manner, you will be scoring your marks. Okay, serial or half duplex or full duplex, and a student can choose a full duplex option also. So this is how he will be scored. He will be able to score. Any further discussion? Any further confusions? It's a 6 mark question. Be clear. How will you actually understand to divide your answer? That is the main thing. It means that they want you to think of serial parallel and then simplex or duplex. So this is how you will identify, and you will start writing down the answers. Be cautious about your choice, and marks are yours. Okay, fine. No issues with this. Now, another part of the same question, an even parity check is used to detect errors in the data after it has been transmitted to the printer. Describe how an even parity check detects an error. So now they want you to explain and give 4 valid points to explain how even parity is working. See, the same thing as we have been simple. The way you have learned in class, same thing is going to be done for the examiner. A parity bit is added to each byte. This is what you know, and to make the number of ones or to make the number of zeros even number. And the number of ones in each byte is counted after transmission. If any byte have an odd number of ones, then an error is detected. So this is what you have learned. We have counted the number of ones in the byte. The number of ones is in or is an even number. It means that the zero should be there, and definitely that means it has been transmitted accurately. And if in case there is an error that has occurred, so definitely then it will be an odd number of zeros, an odd number of ones will be there, and that is how you will detect that some error has occurred. And this is how you'll explain it to the teacher, to the students, to the examiner, and marks are yours. Easy? Okay, now moving to the next question, question number 4. An employee uses a computer that has a von Neumann architecture to complete many different tasks in their working day. The computer has a central processing unit, CPU. Complete the table of components in the CPU and their descriptions. So you can see this one was the description given to me. It sends signals to all the components in the CPU to manage the flow of data through the CPU, that is control unit or CU. Another one, it carries all the arithmetic and logic operations in the CPU, arithmetic and logic unit or ALU. Cache, it stores frequently used data and instructions. Frequently used data and instructions. This is something that we need to remember. Whichever is frequently used data or instructions, they are normally stored in cache. Program counter or PC, it stores the address of the next instruction to be fetched. Be clear, it stores address of the next instruction to be fetched. And now moving to another term that is supposed to be written, and the description is it controls the number of fetch, decode, execute or FDE cycles that are performed per second. So the answer is clock. And another description, it stores data immediately before it is transmitted to RAM and immediately after it is received from RAM. So that is memory data. So see, it is storing the data. So definitely it is MDR or memory data register. So be very cautious. You can even highlight the keywords for your own self. You will remember like arithmetic and logic unit. Logic unit is performing arithmetic and logic operations, sending the signals to all the components. In the CPU is your control unit. So this is how you will be able to score 6 out of 6. For that, very good preparation of von Neumann architecture. And inshallah, no matter how the question is, you will be able to score. Be cautious and definitely marks are yours. Okay, now, next part. The computer is an example of a general purpose computer and not an embedded system. Explain why the computer is not an embedded system. See, why it's not an embedded, you know very well. So it's a 2-mark question. So any 2 from here. So you know very well an embedded system is designed to perform a dedicated task, designed to perform one task only. While a computer is there to perform many tasks. That is what you know. An embedded system has dedicated hardware, while computer has hardware that can be used by other devices. Like I have um, maybe I have the um, the speakers. So the speakers cannot be used with, can be used with other devices also, isn't it? So that is why you can see an embedded system has a dedicated hardware, while computer's hardware can be used by other devices also. Another point can be an embedded system has software that is not easily updated or reprogrammed, while when you talk about the software available on a computer can be easily updated or reprogrammed. A student can even write an embedded computer has a microprocessor, while a computer has a CPU. Simple microprocessor. And when we talk about a computer, it has a CPU. So a student can write this also. An embedded system can be part of or built into a larger device, while a computer is normally a standalone device. So embedded system can be a part of the larger device. That is also possible. So just be clear, answer with confidence, and marks are yours. Any questions? Any ambiguity? Okay, question number 5. A hospital has computers. So number 5, a hospital has computers and technology that it uses when caring for its patients. Part A, one computer is an expert system that is used to help diagnose a patient's illness. The doctor inputs the patient's symptoms into an interface and a diagnosis is output. Describe how the expert system decides the diagnosis. Now they have mentioned the use of interface and output of the diagnosis. So they're asking how the expert system is making the decision. So for that, you need to be clear. Inference engine is used. It's interface that is mentioned, but inference engine is the main thing that is used, and that is there to decide which questions should be asked from the user. So maybe the patient is suffering from some illness. So inference engine will decide which questions to ask. And definitely based on the data that is input by the user. So actually the patient's symptoms are input already into the system. It means that it has that data available, and based on the input data, it will be the job of the inference engine to decide which questions to be given to the user to answer, and whichever symptoms are input are going to be searched in the knowledge base, and it is going to apply the rule base to find out the correct diagnosis. So in this manner, if you have mentioned 3 valid points out of this whole discussion, see, inference engine is going to decide which questions to be given to the user based on definitely the input given already, and it is going to search in its knowledge base, and the rule base will decide which is the diagnosis, which is the correct diagnosis, and that will be definitely output by the that will be output on the screen. So 3 valid points and 3 marks are yours. Part B. The hospital has a robot that is used to perform surgery. A doctor controls the robot from a different location to perform the surgery on a patient. One feature of the robot is that it has electrical components. Give 2 examples of the electrical components of a robot. Now, this question is a bit different from what we have been discussing till now. Be cautious. It's not asking about the robot components, it's asking about the examples of the electrical components of a robot. So you can mention electrical components can be a sensor, can be a microprocessor, can be an actuator. So any 2 examples will do. That is why they are mentioned here. For your convenience, all the examples are mentioned. A student can mention sensors or microprocessors or actuators. Out of these 3, any 2 will do, and they will be giving you 2 out of 2 here. Okay. Now, question number, the second part of this question. Explain the advantages of using the robot to perform surgery. It's a 4-mark question. So they want you to write 4 valid points. So what is the advantage? A doctor doesn't need to travel to the hospital to do the surgery, and it can be done by a specialist doctor in the world, anywhere, no matter in which part of the world is he, and it can be done immediately. Like you don't have to wait for the travel time. It can be done without traveling, so it can be just done then and there, and definitely it results in reducing the waiting time for the patient. Normally, the patient keeps on waiting for their turn, but if this is done remotely by a robot, then the advantage is definitely that you don't have to wait for the traveling, and it can be done easily. And you can see the doctor is going to be like definitely performing it better, because when you are traveling from one place to another, then travel itself is going to be taking a toll on your performance. So your that tiredness is not going to be there, and the travel costs are also going to be saved. So you can see when the patient does not have to wait for the doctor to arrive, so definitely it will be advantageous to the doctor also. He does not have to travel, so it means his waiting time is going to be like he does not have to incur the traveling cost. He does not have to be tired because of the traveling, so that is definitely going to be an advantage. And most important thing is surgery with robot is definitely going to enhance the precision. It is going to enhance the accuracy. So even you can say a small surgery can be done with a lot of precision, and the recovery time is going to be shorter. And since if I talk about human doing the same surgery, he may make a mistake, but talking about the machines, they are definitely going to be doing the work with accuracy, with precision, and even they can handle smaller components can be handled by the robots much easily, and the surgery is more hygienic. The surgery is safer because definitely maybe a doctor is unwell, but he's performing the surgery. Maybe he is some suffering from some disease, or maybe the patient himself is suffering from some infectious disease. So in that case, the doctor may suffer. But in case if the same thing is handled by a robot, then the patient, if even the patient is suffering from some infectious disease, the doctor will not be will not be having the rate of can see getting that if he's closer, and surgery may have a higher rate of success. So any 4 points written properly will definitely give you 4 out of 4. But please be very cautious. You have to answer in such a manner that examiner will give you 4 points, 4 marks. This is what the students normally do. They don't pay attention to these minor details, and then they complain that our answers were accurate and we didn't score. So please be very cautious. They want you to answer so accurately that you are definitely going to gain the marks. Okay, now part 3. Explain one disadvantage of using the remote to perform surgery. Advantage is perfect, but there can be some disadvantages also. 1 point, 1 mark for writing the point, another mark for better matching description. Internet connection could be lost or delayed, so the surgery may not be able to continue. The robot will be expensive to buy or maintain. This money could have been spent on other causes. The robot could be hacked and endanger the patient's life. Data could be corrupted in transmission, changing the nature of the instruction for the robot. The robot's hardware could malfunction, so the surgery cannot continue. It may happen. Any one disadvantage with the proper description will give you 2 out of 2. I hope that this is very clear to everyone. Any questions? Okay, now the next part. Patients use a web page to log into their account to pay for the treatment they have received in the hospital. The patient enters the URL for the web page into their browser, and the web page is requested and displayed. Complete and annotate the diagram to show how the web page is requested for the patient. I'm giving you 2 minutes to very quickly draw the diagram. The help is given to you, what they expect you to write, what they want you to write. The diagram instructions are here. Be very quick, draw it, and then we will see, we will match our answers. I think you have done something, you have drawn something. You can see what they expect you to write for all this. Web browser is identified as software used to send the URL is going to request the IP address. URL is sent to the DNS. The DNS is going to search the matching IP. If not found, it will be sent to another DNS, and the IP address is sent back to the patient's computer, and the request is sent from the patient's computer then to the web server. And then a two-way communication will begin. By the way, just very nice, Ali. This is a somewhat similar example that you have seen in your book. That's wonderful. So if you have remember the way we have talked about. See, it's just a sample diagram. Please remember, a sample diagram, you can refer to your book also. It's a 6 mark question. So first of all, patient's computer, and then a URL is sent. You can see user is inputting the patient's URL is input into the patient's computer. The patient's computer is going to send the URL to the DNS. One, to search for the matching IP. If found, well and good, it will be returned. So IP address is returned of the given URL. But if it's not, then the DNS2 is going to be searched to be sent back. And then once the IP address has been received, so just be clear, IP address is going to be sent back, and then the web server will be contacted, and the IP address is sent for the request, and the web server will be sending the web page back. So if you have drawn the diagram, including the patient's computer, the web server, the DNS1, the DNS2, and you have written the proper terminologies, what they expect you to write, then definitely you are going to score 6 out of 6. So be clear, it's very easy to score if you have really learned how to do it. It's not difficult at all, and marks are definitely going to be yours. Now, a patient is making a payment through a secure connection. The secure connection is created using the secure sockets layer SSL protocol. Explain how a secure connection is created using the SSL protocol. It's also a 6-mark question. So from this chapter number 5, they have given you what? You remember, we have talked about SSL. So what is SSL doing? Encrypted connection established using asymmetric encryption to make any data sent is meaningless. Then the web browser is going to ask the web server to identify itself by sending its digital certificate. The digital certificate is there to authenticate the web browser or to validate the web browser. If the certificate is valid, the connection is secure, and the communication will begin, the transmission will begin. In case the certificate is not valid, in that case, the connection is not secure and the transaction is cancelled or the user is notified. So this is a 6-mark question expecting you to talk about encryption, why encryption, which encryption is being used, and why encryption is being used to make the data sent meaningless, and then the web browser is going to ask the server to identify itself. So basically, it's the same discussion as we had. So it's not difficult to score. Just be cautious about your learning. Keep on revising your stuff. Keep on answering. Inshallah, you will be able to score. Jazakallah khain kasira for being a part of the learning journey. Hope that you have liked the explanation. Share with your friends and family so they all are going to benefit from it. And do not forget to subscribe the channel so that they all are aware. You are also aware of the latest videos when they're uploaded. And do not forget to share with your friends and family also. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. May Allah bless you. May Allah help you. Allah Hafiz.